Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be working on part 2 of trying to get this Toyota SDK7 skid steer running. Be sure to check out part 1 of this video. I'll link it in the description. So a little story on this skid steer. This is a Toyota 2J engine, and the original engine, I believe, went bad or something, and somebody replaced that engine with another 2J engine, but this engine is out of a forklift. So the original engine had a fuel shutoff solenoid, which the key would turn off. Thus, that's why we're not being able to shut it off with a key, because we don't have that fuel shutoff solenoid on the injection pump. So basically this engine is wanting to run wide open. It doesn't matter what I do on the throttle. It doesn't really do anything. It just kind of wants to run away. So I'm guessing on the forklift engine unit, of course you have a throttle pedal on a forklift, and on a skid steer you just have a hand lever as the throttle. So I think they added this from the forklift in order to shut the engine off, since there is no fuel shutoff solenoid on the injection pump. I was told that maybe it could be a cracked diaphragm or torn diaphragm, and usually in that case engines will have a high idle. So I think that's what I'm going to check first. I'm going to go ahead and take the back cover off the injection pump and see if we can find anything that's bad on it. So before we get started with this video, I just want to say a huge thanks to everybody that commented in the first video. There's just overwhelming help that I got with this machine, just tons of comments, and I just want to thank you guys so much for that. Also, Durwood Mont, or however you say it, I posted in the comments on the first video, was the winner of the Super Clean giveaway. I have not heard from him, so if you watch this, please shoot me an email. You can find that in the description, and that way I can get you the giveaway prize shipped to you. Alright, let's see about removing some of this stuff so we can have better access to this injection pump. Here's the throttle plunger. Well, I think that could be our problem. Wow. The diaphragm on that thing. Goodness gracious. Wow, look at that. So Yep, that is why we weren't having any throttle. And that rack might be stuck a little bit. No. Let's see. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, I think we need to find a new diaphragm. All right, so the manual says that this is supposed to come out. This diaphragm. All right, sweet. So this is the diaphragm here, and as you can see, it's pretty shot. And the way that this system works is there's two lines. There's one line, well, let me get to the other. So this is a pneumatic injection pump. We have one line right here and another line right here. Both of them go into this Venturi, and one's basically your high pressure or low pressure, or I can't think of the words, but basically your downstream and upstream line. And the way it works is one line acts upon one side of the diaphragm and this other line acts on the behind side of the diaphragm, basically moving it in and out, which slides the rack, also determining on where your throttle position is. So without that diaphragm, you're basically having an air leak that's setting it in a high RPM situation. All right, about $80 later, here is our new diaphragm. It's actually like a leather material, really weird. All right, got our parts laid out here. I'm gonna go ahead and start installing everything back on the diaphragm, and we'll get it put back in the machine. This thing is a complete pain in the butt to get in. There's just no room to work. Finally got it. That was extremely hard to do. All right, there we go. So as you can see, this hose is just really loose on here, and this is what maintains the pressure in the diaphragm. You can kind of see the inlet and the downstream hose, and this is what actually controls it, so these have to be tight. So I got some clamps here I'm just going to put on them. I'm gonna go ahead and replace these hoses with new ones. Alright guys, here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it seems better, but I don't know. It's still not. I mean, still not right. I don't know what's going on with it, guys. I did raise this up. Seems like all the hydraulics are working, but it's like, it's definitely not right. And it's smoking like crazy, and it's like knocking sounding. Let's go ahead and remove these valve covers. Just want to take a quick look, make sure there's no obvious cracking or anything. I do believe this engine was overheated, so. Well guys, I think I found the problem. Hopefully it's the problem. Look at that valve clearance. That is horrible. It's like ½ an inch. And they're all like that. Look at that one. It's like 3/4 of an inch. Goodness. But one of the big things is these little caps. They go on top of the valve stems. They're like all missing except for 2. This one's here and that one's here. And I found this one just laying down here on top of the head. There's another one laying down in there. So who knows where the rest of them are. They probably fell down these little holes and went down either into the oil pan or got chewed up by the cam. Hoping none of these push rods are bent. I could hear like a knock in it, and yeah, so let's see if we can get this engine back in time. I don't even see how it was running at all. I mean, it must have been running on like 1 cylinder or maybe 2. Who knows? Maybe that will fix it though. Let's give it a shot. Well, just making sure none of those caps were stuck to anything. I got 1 cap here. All these are missing. And I got 1 cap on the back. And that's it. So I got 4 total. So I'm missing 4 of them. They're most likely in the oil pan. Oh, found 1. So I'm missing 3 now. Yep, missing 2 of them now. Oh, I'm missing 1 now. Let's see if we can find that 1. That would be great if we can find it somewhere. Most likely it's down the oil pan though. Alright, so I gotta get to this cover under there to get to the lifters. So let's go ahead and pull this exhaust off, and then I'm gonna jack this thing up, and that way I can get up under the oil pan. Well, that wasn't bad. Gee, that thing was rusted on. Maybe when they took the head off this thing. Loosen these guys up. Well, And all these exhaust bolts are pretty loose. That's good. I mean, they're not loose, but they're not like super tight. So I'm not seeing the valve stem cap, so it's got to be down the oil pan, or maybe it's stuck in one of them lifters and I just can't see it. The amount of junk that's in this engine is crazy. All this is like gasket material or carbon, and there's like a bunch of it all like sitting down in there. Let's see if I can. This thing's gonna need flushing out. I don't know if like when they took the old gasket off, if they just scraped it here in the engine, but like you can see there's like pieces of it. So this lifter right here, this hole is plugged with this gasket material stuff. I don't know where this stuff came from. Honey. Alright, so I'm getting this thing lifted up. I got it pretty sketchy. Got a cable going to this tree just to make sure it doesn't roll forward. Got some big tree trunks under it. Trying to get these lug nuts off, and surprisingly they're actually coming off. I thought they'd be really rusted on here. They're actually coming off. Stuff like this will eat away at the seals bad. And then you'll have to replace your drive seals. So I am not seeing any metal shavings at all, or any kind of glitter, so that's good. There's our drive motors. It's actually pretty clean up in under there. Thought it was gonna be full of crap and sludge, but actually looks pretty nice. Very surprised. Let's see if we can find our little valves cap. Well, what do you know? There it is. And this was all under the oil pickup screen. This is all like gasket material. It's not metal. It's all like, I don't see any metal at all in this, so that's good. Just full of gasket material. So let's get all this stuff cleaned up and get everything cleaned up under here, and we'll go ahead and reinstall this pan and start getting these valves put back together. Okay, so I ran some diesel through the engine here just to kind of clean out some of the buildup. So now I need to go ahead and install the lifters and get these valves adjusted. First thing I want to do, it's kind of hard to find these tick marks, but I found them right here. So I want to align this with 0, and that's going to give me top dead center on the #1 cylinder. So let's go ahead and get the lifters installed and get it adjusted. Alright, time for these little famous guys. Get some assembly lube on here so they don't go popping off. Okay, so we're at top dead center on the #1 cylinder. So the manual states here we're going to be doing cylinders 1 and 2, intake and exhaust 1 and 2, and then 4 and 6. So 1 and 2, and then 4 and 6 over there. And then we're going to turn it 1 whole rotation, and then we're going to do 3 and 7 and 5 and 8. Okay, so we're going to start on the exhaust first. That's 0.36 millimeter. So this is going to be our #1 exhaust here. So just stick our feeler gauge, tighten this down. And then we'll tighten the screw. We'll get those all tightened down. Alright, I got some new quart gasket. I'm just going to make a new gasket for this for the cover here. Let's see if we can get this up here. Okay, so before on the oil drain it had this tube that went to the oil pan here with this bolt, went up into the oil pan, and then this went to the back of the machine. I think I'm gonna get rid of most of this because one thing, you're kind of, the oil is flowing uphill and it takes forever to drain. I don't think you get it all out. And also on this bolt is just like completely stripped out. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this off and weld a nut onto the top of it, and I'm going to chop most of this off so I can just drain the oil up under the machine, and that way you can get most of the oil out. Alright, and there we go, guys. Nice new drain bolt. It's still hot. Alright, got all the parts here. Only thing I gotta do, this never had any kind of gasket, and I think it was kind of leaking. It might have had a small gasket in there before, but there wasn't any. So I got some copper flashing. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut a gasket for this. Just cut that out with the hole saw. Alright. And there we go. 2 copper gaskets. Alright, so I got some new hoses here. I'm going to get these hoses replaced. As you can see, they're just not in the best of shape. So let's work on that. Oh, wasn't too bad. Clamp on that. Alright, got the hose installed, added some strain relief onto it, so we're good to go there. Got this radiator here, think that's gonna work. Got a nice opening here, all aluminum. This old copper radiator, I sent it to a shop and they said it was no good. Completely clogged up in all of these cores. The only cores that were good were maybe these 3 on the top, and I think like 1 or 2 down here. So it's a shame, but anyway, this actually looks like it might cool better. It's really pretty decent sized radiator, so I think that's gonna work. Let's go to get some brackets made up. I'm gonna come off here, have another one sandwich some kind of rubber insulation there to kind of hold it steady, and I'll put something at the bottom here too. So let's work on that. All right, let's work some magic here. All right, nice. All right, got this hose that we took off the transmission line. We're going to recycle it. All right, now the bottom portion of this radiator, the screw right here will sit on that. Keep the bottom cushioned from sliding around. Alright, I think that's going to work pretty good. It's on there pretty solid. Alrighty, radiator is done, and it is solid. I think that worked out pretty well. Let's get it filled up. Alright guys, got it all put back together. Let's see what happens. looks much better. I say we get these wheels and tires put on and see if we can drive this thing around. Alright guys, let's get all this stuff put back together, get all the wiring tidied up, make sure we got everything greased and oiled, and then we'll go ahead and take this thing on a test drive. Alright guys, here we go. Alright guys, I think this is the end of this video, but I got some big projects coming up with this thing, and I'm still not done with this. I want to go ahead and paint it, and still got a couple things I want to fix on it. I also need to build a fan shroud. That's why I got this thing lifted up. It just kind of keeps the air from blowing into the, or you know, the cab gets a little hot, so I open this up to kind of keep it cool in there. But I want to get some of the metal tracks for it, and give it a good paint job. Want to do some work to this bucket. It's really hard to see the cutting edge, so I want to cut out a little notch right here. But for now, I think we're done. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Y'all have a good one. Take care.